Ronald Reagan was raised by two humble and hardworking parents in the Midwest. He grew up to become a great world leader. You were born of Cuban exile parents who also worked hard to support you and your family. Now you're an author and a United States Senator. Can you tell us how you define the American dream and if Ronald Reagan has had any influence in your life?
Well, first of all, the American dream is a universal one, and it's multifaceted, but large. Essentially, it's the desire to be able to accomplish what you were meant to do by God, and the ability to leave your children better off than yourself. And obviously that's where our freedom is important, our free enterprise system is important, and a government that protects those rights is important. And I think that defines the influence Ronald Reagan had on me. Growing up, I tell people I grew up in Ronald Reagan's America, in a time when we had a president that reminded us that America wasn't just some other country, that we had an extraordinary obligation to lead by example for all the world, and that if we did that, the world would continue to improve and be better, and we were able to do that.
That's great. Thank you. You're known for being a good orator, as was Ronald Reagan. What role do you think being a great communicator plays in your political dealings on a day-to-day basis?
Well, I wouldn't call myself a great communicator, and I'm certainly not in President Reagan's league, but I would say that communication is an important part of what we stand for, of how we can get people to understand what we stand for and to move public policy forward. One of the jobs of those in public office is not simply to respond to public opinion, but to help form public judgment, which is what people come to believe once their leaders have explained an issue to them and explained the options to them. Ronald Reagan did that better than perhaps anyone in the 20th century. He would clearly go to the American people and say, this is what we face, this is our choices, this is the right choice for us, and here's why, and then gather the American people behind him. And so communication skills are extremely important in order to be able to, effectively lead.
Well, and don't sell yourself short. Many people think that you're right up there with him. If you had to put your finger on the biggest problem facing America today, what would it be and why?
Well, probably the biggest problem facing America today is that our government plays a role it was never intended to play. Our government has grown so large and so expensive that not even we, the richest country and the richest people in the history of the world, can afford to fund it. And I think everyone has a little bit to blame there, other than the Reagan administration, to be frank. Both Republicans and Democrats have allowed this expansion to continue. And it was done for good reasons, because we all want to live in a society where we can be compassionate and often turn to government to find solutions for us. But all that has to be measured. There's limits to what government can do. And if you exceed those limits, you end up creating for yourself the situation we now face. It's not just America. It's Western Europe. It's Japan. It's every country that's tried it this way. It has failed. And so we also have a golden opportunity. This challenge is also a tremendous opportunity to put America's government back in its rightful place. And if we do that, I believe if we do that just through some simple but straightforward and important measures, we are on the verge of one of the most rapid economic expansions in our nation's history.
Well, we look forward to hearing those type of things and solutions you'll be providing for us. Last question. I have to ask it. It'd be hard to ignore the media's chatter about the role you play in the upcoming 2012 elections, especially as it relates to our vice presidency. If you were asked to be on the GOP ticket, would you consider it?
I don't think I would. To be honest, I'm really focused on my job in the Senate. And right now, it's very important that I do that. I've been there 7 months, 8 now. And anytime you start thinking about other things you may be asked to do, it starts affecting everything you do, whether you want it to or not. And so it's important that I really stay focused on my job in the United States Senate and do a good job at that. And I'm flattered by the talk, but I don't believe I'm going to be the nominee for vice president.
Well, we thank you for coming to the Reagan Library and for being with us tonight, and we can't wait to hear your speech. Thank you very much.
Thank you.